Okay, hello, welcome back to another game of chess. Today we're playing e4 as per usual. My opponent decides to respond with e6, a French defense. So we're going to go for a Steiner variation here with c4, taking inwards. Should they play d5, they instead choose to go for c6. I'll claim the full, fat, obese center here with e4, d4, and c4. A lovely dominant control of basically all of the fifth rank. Okay, well, I mean, most of the fifth rank. They give me a check. I'm going to very gladly play knight c3. Should you wish to damage my pawns, no, maybe I shouldn't put that in quotation marks. They do damage my pawns by taking there, but it's not so obvious that my pawns are actually bad like that. I get this open b file, this becomes nice and secured, and I think just bishop d3. I'm going to play e5, I'm going to play knight f3. We're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. I mean, I might play a3 and provoke you to take this knight. I would love an unrivaled dark squared bishop. I would absolutely love a bishop pair. Yes, please. Now, I'm definitely going to play e5. The question is whether I do it now, or whether I take here first then do it, or whether I play a3, although no, because then just takes and they pick this up. But I can take this first, which I kind of like, because if I play e5 now, you take here. I have to play bishop takes here, do I? Or maybe I have pawn takes here, here. e5, you get a pawn, I get a knight, you get a bishop, I get a pawn. That's equal material, but I feel like you do more damage to your king side. But then maybe you castle queen side, and maybe, I don't know, there's pressure on g2. I don't really love that line. I think I'm going to start by taking inwards this way, and then afterwards, regardless of whether they play pawn takes or the other pawn takes, I will be playing e5 here, and we've got this gorgeously situated light squared bishop. Now they hop in with the knight. Just sort of sung the praises of this light squared bishop. There's maybe a case to take, kind of ruin this pawn and maybe then just go after it. You know, play bishop e3. I could then sort of go for even quite a slow knight g2, knight g3. I could castle to let this knight attack it as well. It would be very hard to defend that pawn, but I'm much more inclined, I do believe, to just play bishop d2 here. Now that seems a little odd. Why am I going to let my opponent just play knight takes bishop? Well, I want to keep this light square bishop. I want to get rid of the knight from here. I want to eventually kick this bishop. That maybe wasn't so well justified, but I still feel very good about my position. I can play knight f3. I just think we trade off their only semi-powerful piece for a piece that was kind of undeveloped from me. Now, again, that kind of flies in the face of my wanting of the bishop pair, but I am still very, very happy with my light square bishop. I'm thinking that playing a3 and maybe b4 might make some sense, but yeah, they have a little nasty pressure on this. I can play a3 though, because if you take... I can take this way. If you don't take... Yeah, okay, I actually really like a3. If you take here, I get to play c takes, and then we've got this nice open b file. Yeah, okay, so they just retreat, fine. At this point, I can castle, because if knight takes, queen takes, bishop b5, I win the queen. However, if I castle and queen takes... Oh, no, that is held. Okay. Do I even want to castle, though? Maybe I don't want to castle. Maybe I want to play h4. Maybe I want to castle queenside, although... I don't know if I'm that much of a maniac. I clearly am that much of a maniac. If people have watched my videos at all, they'll know I'm no stranger to castling queenside amongst very few pawns. However, I don't really see a compelling reason to do that now because my opponent's not exactly committed to the king side. I do like playing h4 here. I wouldn't mind putting my king on f1 and having this rook here and maybe even using the closure of these pawns, therefore the bishop's blockedness with regards to... That was a weird way of phrasing that. But blockedness, I'll stick with it, in regards to preventing rook to h3 and some rook lift here. That does feel like a nice and interesting way. It's just casting is very committal. It's probably the best move. If I play b4 right now, actually I like b4. That's, I mean, I've sort of... I don't know if you guys could hear that. Someone is screaming outside my house. It sounds like some drunk people. I sincerely hope they leave soon and don't interrupt the audio of this video. I was thinking if a5, I could play b5 and then solidify this here, and that would probably be a good idea. I'm also thinking we've got this nice domination of c5. I'm half thinking, why not knight here? Why not knight here? You can't go to any of these squares. I mean, my bishop and the pawns do a great job here. So you've got to retreat with the queen. You know what? Knight a4. Yes, please. Okay, sweet. Queen moves. Now do I go in here? It seems pretty tempting. Do you just kick me? Maybe I could go back to b3 though. I don't hate that. Okay, we will go into c5 because otherwise my knight's just on a4 for no reason. This feels like a great place for my knight. If they decide to kick me, maybe light squares get a bit weaker. In fact, maybe there's here and then rook here and then queen here, and we can mount a lot of pressure on these newly weakened light squares. Hold on, that might actually be a pretty concrete idea. b6 takes here. You'd assume they don't play king takes. Then bishop here, and the point is that you're pinned, but it's a second order pin. I mean, I'm pinning to the queen, I'm also pinning to the king. So you can redeem one of those and unpin from one of those in one move, but of course you can't do both. So b6 takes, queen takes here, and then I guess you could sort of defend this, or I guess you could just start by castling, but then I attack this while it's still pinned, then you defend it, and then I attack it again while it's still pinned. Or maybe not to hit. Okay, well, none of that was remotely relevant because they, of course, have taken. I guess I'm taking this way. If I could place a knight to d6 right now, I'd be overjoyed. Alas, I cannot, and that is a brilliant move for crying out loud. If here... Oh no, it's... Wait, what? I have queen e3. I was thinking if I retreat with the knight, yeah, the rook hangs, but do I not just have queen e3 here? I mean, don't just automatically believe your opponents. I think queen e3 solves all of my problems. This is blockaded. There's a queen trade about to happen. I mean, you could step back and not allow the queen trade, which you probably should do because, you know, of course, you're now down material. But then I get time to castle, connect the rooks, and I should be having a great time there, in fact. Wait, hold on. Now I have knight b5. Attacking the queen, should you take? I play bishop takes. You don't have a way to block, so you'd have to move the king. And if you move the queen, which of course you have to do if you're not willing to... Didn't think about that. That's so annoying. Okay, I mean, I still have queen d2, but I was thinking I was going to get this check for free. Yeah, okay, we'll play queen d2. Clearly, if bishop takes here, I can just take the queen. If you trade the queens first, then this is defended. In fact, this might be just very decent anyway, because this kind of forces a queen trade almost, unless you want to let me play knight to d6 check. And if you go this way, I could probably fork the queen. Actually, no, because the queen would have moved. But I could also fork the rook there on f7. And if you come up, I mean, maybe queen here, and you go here, and I go here, and it's... I don't know, it's not looking good. My opponent went for an idea that simply did not work. I mean, we had a good position here. And, I mean, maybe even we were dreaming of a Greek gift should we go queen e2 and they castle or something. Or like an h4 and a souped-up Greek gift. But here, I mean, yeah, they trade the queens. Be my guest. I'm going to come in here or come in here. Or also, you could just take, but then kind of simplifying, have to move the king, which... isn't necessarily a terrible thing in this endgame context, but I do just have a bishop for 2 pawns and probably should be not easily winning, but relatively comfortably winning. As long as I don't allow too much counterplay, which I don't think I will, so long as I put a rook on the c-file when provoked. I kind of like going this way and then bringing the bishop to f3. Maybe we can threaten to take this. I don't know. Also, just loose pieces drop off, so anchoring it down might make a whole lot of sense. I feel like it's pretty decent reasoning. Rook on the c-file, sweet. Everything's nice and connected. My king's fine, pretty unassailable. You don't have any moves for this rook right now. You probably should lift this one and start trying to do something interesting. But now, bishop f3, if rook here, I can go takes. Here, come back. Yeah, okay, fine. They unpin. But now, I mean, I can just, I don't know. I can just lift my rook, and then when you come under here, I can do this. And I think I'm just kind of, I don't know, there's like a block here. I'm preventing any access. You've got one open file. It's not even an open file, it's a semi-open file. Of course, you've got 7 other pawns, so how else are your rooks going to find activity other than via this file? And I'm keeping it nice and closed down. You don't have b6, I can just take, and this is adequately held. What I don't want to do is play like king e2 and then allow b6, because if I take, then I would hang a rook. So keeping this held is going to be a good idea. It's just really not obvious what my opponent should do here. I might move my king up and up, honestly. Although then they go here, and if I take this, I might be getting in quite a lot of trouble. I don't know, it's not obvious. Okay, we're gonna go here, just to say, like, no to every idea that they might have here. And I think I'm gonna play bishop here and then bishop to b5, which does allow them to maybe push this. I don't know, maybe I should have considered this check. If they push this, yeah, okay, and then maybe come across. Yeah, but then I always have, okay, hold on. I just stepped back here, or I could have gone up actually, but now I always have bishop f3, which becomes significantly scarier for my opponent, now that they don't have the pawn on d5. So they preemptively go back, okay. Bishop f3 or bishop here? I honestly don't know. I think both are very strong. Might just play g3 to start with, honestly. Just start controlling some squares. I might be looking at giving a check here, and I mean, you can come in, but you're kind of risking getting mated. Bishop here, check. I'm also just thinking I have this, right? Rook f1, oh no, my pawn. Oh no, my pawn, I can't believe I just hung my pawn. I think what's happened here, maybe, is that you've walked right into my little web. My net, perhaps you could call it. Hold on, you can't even escape this. Here, this is still mate, isn't it? That's ridiculous. Okay, no, you can escape it because of course you can push the pawn. That's pretty cool. The fact that this was still mate is very, very cool. If I give a check and you go here, I mean, I just get to take this with check. Why would I consider anything else? Now I'm going to go check, and either you're coming back down this way and probably getting yourself into a lot of trouble there, or you take this and allow me to discover with an attack on the rook, or you go here, and I mean, I could probably take this anyway, or play like bishop b5. I think this game's just over. I mean, I know this game is just over. My opponent is absolutely welcome to play on. Of course, they come back down into the web that I'm weaving. I'm thinking... here, rook d8 check. I mean, yeah, dude, I'm just picking up your pawns. You're now, you're never coming back this way. I'm also threatening check, maybe. Is that going to be mate eventually? Here? You're always going to have rook here, I guess. But at the very least, I might have check and then, ooh. You don't have rook there anymore. Wow! Mated in the center of the board on e4. This game both started and ended on e4. Wow. Let's have a little analyze of that game. You're watching me work out whether I think this video is entertaining enough to post. This was pretty cool. And then the mate is very nice. But also, did I earn my advantage? Not really. This was all good stuff though. Like, that was a pretty smooth conversion. I reckon so. Let me know in the comments. I mean, clearly you're seeing this video, so I decided so. But we'll give this a brief analysis and let me know in the comments whether you think this was a, a good video and this kind of game is still entertaining and worth posting, even though I didn't quite earn my advantage really because my opponent went for an idea that didn't quite work because of queen e3. I mean, from this point, the chess was magnificent, but I did get handed a plus 3.4 advantage there with knight takes d4. So, let me know whether you enjoyed this. I think the ending made it worth it. Anyway, e4, e6, we go for this French defense and we get this this Steiner variation. We play it fairly fantastically. However, here, I think I mentioned that I reckon the engine would want me to take here. Or I don't know if I said the engine would want me to, but I said I think this was a good approach. And I think, yeah, this definitely was one of the best moves. Also, knight ge2 straight away is pretty strong. I don't think I should have gone for bishop d2. I think I felt that I couldn't actually really justify it once I played it. It seemed to make sense in my head. And then I just kind of, as I was speaking, I thought, actually, I don't really like that so much. Knight f3, we get to this even position here. And by even, I mean, objectively, the evaluation is relatively even. It's far from even in terms of, there's plenty of imbalance going on here. We push the pawn, we then play b4, which is very nice. Of course, if they played knight takes here, winning a pawn, then we could have gone check and won their queen back. But bishop d7, I go for knight here, bring the knight in here, and in fact, it might be worth looking if b6, no way, I think I was right. Takes, bishop b5. Although there would be a6 immediately, which I guess then you could just kick out the bishop. I mean, my bishop's still probably pretty good, but nah. Yeah, I didn't really think about that. Maybe, I guess, like rook c1 first would have been a bit more subtle, and then something like this, and rook here, and then maybe queen c2? Nope, queen c2 loses to knight d4. Queen c3, on the other hand. Queen c3 would have been completely winning. Interesting. Now, if you go for knight d4, I can take your queen, and you don't get to take this with check. Okay, so there was definitely some value in that calculation. That's pretty good stuff. We take, then they make this mistake, or blunder, thinking of course that after here they're attacking the knight and the king, and if I move my knight back they could take the rook. I mean, those two things are correct. However, I do just have this queen e3 move, which is an inaccuracy. What on earth? Oh wow, I also had bishop e2, which I didn't even think about at all. I mean, I'd still play queen e3 any day of the week, because a queen trade's only going to benefit me, although I guess, I don't know, bishop e2, I can castle quickly, play rook e1, and then punish the queen for being here. It's interesting. I mean, queen e3 is clearly a great move. Okay, I had multiple resources to defend this. That makes knight e4 even worse. But then, of course, they try and hold on to the queen, knight b5 then, and if they go for this check, then they're going to basically be forced to trade the queens, because, as I mentioned, you go back here, you walk into this, that's not going to be ideal. You take here, we're going to go takes, and then with the king, or rather, sorry, with the queen still on the board, this could get very problematic. I mean, yeah, this would be completely and utterly lost. So I guess going for the check, trading the queens, and then going for this was a decent approach for my opponent. I mean, they do have two pawns and a great pawn structure for the price of the bishop. And that's where I feel like I probably deserve some credit for this game, because actually this was then fairly meticulous endgame play. Obviously, I had a fairly convincing advantage, but bring the bishop back, bring the rook across, realigning the bishop, and then stacking the rooks to hold the rooks out. Hopefully a4 is the best move. Oh, it's up there. It's up there. It's there, let's go. No, you didn't see it switch back to bishop e2. a4 is very nice indeed, nice and suppressive. The king comes in, and then this, being a little creative, we're not just looking after, of course, they push the pawn and then go back. We're not just looking to try and realign and, maybe put pressure on and win pawns and then trade down. No. G3. Hold on, there's no way that was the best move. G3 best move, let's flip and go. G3 best move, what on earth? Preparing this idea of f4, I had a feeling that my opponent, desperate for counterplay, would try and stick with their passed pawn, and we were going to effectively be able to weave a mating net. They probably should have gone back here. Instead, they came forward, and yeah, you can really see the beginnings of a mating net here. The king, I mean, all we need to do is be able to give bishop f3 check, which is precisely why I went over with rook to f1, and beautifully, king here, seemingly the way to run away, does absolutely nothing to stop this from being checkmate. And any of these pawns pushed, or any of these rooks moved, or the king moved, all results in mate. You have to play d3 to give you that d4 square. Then, of course, we're just going to take here with check. The king moves, we go here with check. If here we were going to take here, that's a discovery. Clearly, we're winning the game there. So they instead bring it back in, trying desperately to keep the fight alive. The king's an attacking piece, but if you're too ambitious with the king, it can get trapped. We pick up this pawn, we're holding both of these squares. After the check, we step across, we're now holding all of these squares. The king is sandwiched between a pawn, a bishop, and a king, or a rock and a hard place, I guess. And I mean, had they played this, we could have gone check here, and I was thinking I go check. I might be being an idiot. I mean, okay, it's winning, but there's plenty of other winning stuff. Like, for instance, I could just go here, because if you take, this is going to be mate, and you can't go here to defend because of this. That's pretty cool. But of course, they moved the rook. They put their rook on the same file as my bishop and king. It looks like such a great idea until you get brutally checkmated on e4 with the rook. It's always nice to go for mate in these kind of endgames, instead of just trying to simplify, get the queen and, you know, ladder mate. Very satisfying indeed. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you did enjoy this one. Hopefully the endgame was as satisfying for you as it was for me. It would genuinely be super helpful if you'd let me know in the comments whether this kind of game where, okay, my opponent made a bit more of an obvious mistake, I didn't have to fight so much for my advantage. You know, it'd be good if you let me know if this was nevertheless enjoyable, because I do record a lot of games. I tend to try and pick the best ones to make into videos, because obviously I've got to, you know, edit them and get a thumbnail and then, you know, put them out. I want to, you know, put out games that I'm proud of playing on these videos. On streams, it's a different question. But I do think if I slightly soften my criteria for actually uploading a game, it will allow me to create much more content in the future. So let me know. It would be very helpful. Thank you very much. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the Patreon if you're interested in a weekly bonus video, which I can assure you are only going to be of the very finest quality. It's the best way to support the channel. We've got a little community growing on there. I'm planning on big things for the Patreon. It's going to be my project for the next few years, I think. So yeah, check it out if you like my content. I'd really appreciate the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.